draft picks for Boogie Cousins in February. Jimmy Butler was traded for Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, and the 7th pick, which became Lauri Markkanen. And Paul George was swapped for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. Just doesn't seem like a lot.
Well,
right?
take a look at that Jimmy Butler thing. Now, one thing to point out, the Bulls also sent the number 16 pick in that.
Why?
So that's important to see. But the Bulls got destroyed for their trade.
I mean, those are all-stars. Those are all NBA players.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the Bulls got destroyed for their trade. Now look at what the other teams got. How do you feel about the Bulls trade now? They got
still think they should be destroyed.
Okay.
Why are you giving up a pick to a team that has announced to the world we're done with our youth movement?
Okay, that's fine. I'm just telling you, look what they got back. Look what they're holding. Do you like what the Kings are holding? Do you like what the Pacers are holding? Or you like what the Bulls are holding? Which do you like the best?
All of those, they're not exactly created equal, though, because Jimmy Butler had 2 years on his deal.
Thank you.
Right? Paul George has said he's about to leave, and he's about to go to the Lakers.
And he's told you where he wants to go.
There's not like I don't want to be in Indiana, but maybe I'll stay with you. No,
yes, but
he wants to be in L.A.
Part of the Bulls' decision was to execute the Jimmy Butler trade now because they didn't want to get into the Paul George situation or the situation that they had with DeMarcus Cousins where he had a year and a half left. I'm just saying the Bulls have gotten destroyed for their trade. I mean, Kevin Pelton, our analyst who analyzed everything, he gave him an F.
But Brian,
I'm just saying, take a look.
I don't think he's ever given an F.
Just because someone else messed up even worse doesn't mean, guess what? Guess I didn't mess up.
I'm just saying, now I think we have an idea what the market is. We see what these trade players are going for.
And also the other thing is, you set the market many times.
That's right.
When you come out and you do that, everyone else said, whoa, Jimmy Butler went for that. Why am I giving up a pick? They got a pick for Jimmy Butler.
If I was a Celtics fan and I saw that chart we just showed, my stomach would be a little upset.
Yeah.
Well, some of it, honestly, is what do you have to offer? So the Lakers don't have as much to offer as Boston does, so they can't give up Brandon Ingram. They can't give up the 2 pick because they don't have players behind them that everybody wants. They really only had 2 key assets that people want. Boston has 4. Boston has good young players and 2 great draft picks.
The Lakers are gambling that they will get Paul George, and if Paul George 1 year from today is sitting there across the street at Staples Center, then they'll be really smart. But if Paul George is re-signing in Oklahoma City, they're going to be like, boy, maybe we should have given up Brandon Ingram for that.
Yeah, well, the Lakers saw that trade, and I know that kind of reverberated around because I don't think they got back in. Woj was talking about, did Boston make another offer? I don't think they got back in at the end either.
That's why when people say, should the Lakers get in on the Paul George trade? No, he's coming anyway. This is why. Because he goes to Oklahoma City, and I'm one of the skeptics. I don't think this is going to magically fix Oklahoma City's season. But you don't know what he's going to experience there in terms of that kind of strong culture, very professional organization where he says, you know what? If Russ is going to give it a go, I'll give it a go with him. And now you're the Lakers like, whoa, what happened? When you had a chance to go get him, you go get the talent.
So 2 L.A. kids playing in Oklahoma City. And then they stay in Oklahoma City?
Free agents maybe next year.
Ooh, boy. Hey, guys, after the break, do you see what LeBron did? He shared some lyrics from a new Jay-Z song, and the internet thinks he stopped tweeting again. We'll explain.
He does have a track record,
I know.
Right?
He does.
Come to learn more.
It's a make or miss league. It's a make or miss league.
Make or miss.
It's a make or miss league.
Make or miss.
It's a make or miss. It's a make or miss league.
Fake self-promotion. Knicks guard Ron Baker took to Twitter to tell everyone that he is returning for a 2nd season because nobody else reported it. I mean, do you like Ron Baker breaking his own news?
Yeah, as long as it's like that, not that Instagram post he had with the sunglass thing. It's cloudy with the chance of haters.
I like that.
Hey, I respect undrafted players making it, getting paid.
Sure.
Good job, young man.
Good job. Next time, just DM one of us.
Yeah.
We'll break it for you, man. Miz, logos. Nike has filed an opposition against Rob Gronkowski, saying the logo of his apparel company is too similar to the iconic Air Jordan logo. Ryan, are you seeing the similarity here between Gronk and MJ?
Let me give Gronk some legal advice. Settle out of court on this one.
Like, what are you doing, man? What is you doing? Come on, man.
Make subtweeting. Oh, I just love subtweeting. LeBron James tweeted, "No one wins when the family feuds," which is a lyric from Jay-Z's newest album. And knowing LeBron, could it also be a subtweet to the Cavs organization?
Look,
I mean, you know these things.
A lot of people were tweeting Jay-Z lyrics over the last couple of days and
true.
bothering me. I said, well, I hadn't heard it yet. They don't have title, that's why. But LeBron does have a track record, so kind of.
By the way, it's good advice. Nobody does win when the family feuds.
That's right.
Oh wait, I'll tell you who does win.
The more you know.
Steve Harvey wins.
Oh, you've been saving that one.
Yeah.
That was so sad.
Miss naps. The Pacers' Miles Turner took a nap last night, only to wake up and find that Paul George was gone. Brian, did Miles Turner wake up only to find himself in a
Who
nightmare?
takes a nap leading into free agency?
Nah, yeah,
I don't
What are
believe
you,
that.
crazy? Don't ever take a nap leading into free agency again. Let this be your lesson, Mr. Turner.
As the great DJ Khaled once said, congratulations. Played yourself.
Make! Cheating, yeah. Oh, that's always a make. Klay Thompson's trip to China just keeps rolling
me
along.
tell you something.
And here he is losing an arm wrestling contest to a crafty opponent. I mean,
Watch
is
what she
Klay
did.
ever going to return to
She
China?
gave him the tickle.
Well
she gave him
done.
the tickle. And look at that. He's on the ground again.
That's.
He's been on the ground all week.
Big
man.
Klay.
Let me tell you something.
This
On
is
the
kind of
ground.
epic.
I don't know what it's
Multiple
like to
angles.
sign an $80 million shoe deal, but I have a feeling that I would
Mm-hmm. That's the
also
best
come
part.
out of my shell. This dude is having the time of his life in this China trip.
He was also sleeping during free agency.
Yes, he was, but he didn't have much to wake up for.
I don't know about those moves, though. It's a little bit more of a bounce. I don't know. Miss, texting.
Yeah, that's Michael.
Summer
about
League
that one.
today, Thunder and Pistons, and Stan Van Gundy in the crowd texting very slowly with one finger.
Oh, no. Don't
Brian,
do this to my
do
man,
you
Stan
think
Van.
Stan is closing a deal here?
Well, they did sign Langston Galloway today, but I'm going to tell you that this was the same gym where Stan had that famous Diet Pepsi moment
Oh.
with Dwight Howard.
Oh.
So no matter what happens in that gym, it will never top that moment.
By the way, shout out to Papa Van Gundy standing right next to him.
Oh, I
Nobody-
like that.
nobody
I like
noticed.
that.
They're like, who's that
I like
guy?
the one finger texting. All right, guys.
At the buzzer. What we got here?
Oh, we got a white. Look at that. Jim Jackson, Mr. Big
Oh.
Shot, is in the building for his debut for the Killer Threes tomorrow afternoon for the Big Three tournament in Charlotte. You know what? He's there doing that and not as the GM of the Cavs. What's going on?
Shout out to, first of all, shout out to Jimmy, that's my guy. But shout out to Steven Jackson, who actually broke the news to me. He texted me. said,
Really?
yeah.
Well, if he breaks the news to you, it doesn't count as breaking news.
Guess not.
All right. That's
But
a little
it-
retweet with some emojis, you know.
If he's in Charlotte playing the Big Three, he's not running the Cavs. So what does that tell you?
Tells me Paul George
I
is
think
playing Oklahoma
I
City.
think there's a little negotiation going on with Chauncey right now.
All right, that's enough. That's enough.
Got
Well,
me.
hey, you know what? Let's do it again tomorrow. Tomorrow, okay? Same time, 7,
Right
8 on ESPN. I'm going to run home and go watch that. That's going to be a good fight.
You've been hyping it, man.
38 years old. He's still fighting. Manny Pacquiao, he still got it, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Pac-Man.
Well, he had as much money as John Wall has been offered,
Oh.
and he's still fighting. But John Wall has not taken that $170 million that Washington offered their All-NBA guard and that Supermax contract extension. But according to a report, Brian, Wall wants some time to talk it over with his family and his agent before making a decision. Should he accept or take that Supermax contract? What is he waiting for, Brian? I don't get it.
Well, the word is that it's not really about what the Wizards do in free agency this summer, that there's more things he has to consider. But having said that, I think it would be a good idea for the Wizards to be active in free agency. They met with Otto Porter last night. David Falk is one of the oldest, most experienced agents in the NBA. The way he rolls, he meets at midnight.
Oh, yeah.
And he likes to close a deal at 1 a.m.
And he looks at you and he says, "Do you have a copy of the Bald Truth?"
Hey, you told my joke, Ramona.
Right? Every time you get on the phone with David, you got my book? Have you read my book?
Yes, and I have read that book, and David is very complimentary to himself.
Yeah.
But it's a great book. And they emerged from that meeting without a contract. So he is restricted, and Otto Porter, if he gets an offer, and I can kind of see what the Wizards are doing here. We just talked about the market was tightening up. But I'm sure John Wall would like to see Otto Porter retained.
You think it's hard for 30-something veterans? Try being a restricted free agent right now, trying to get an offer sheet.
Well, I think the one thing you got to remember is teams like Philadelphia have a ton of cap space. Brooklyn have a ton of cap space.
Philadelphia spent most of it now.
Well,
They still have some left. They still have
Brooklyn has
some
some. The Lakers have some.
Sacramento.
Sacramento has some.
Brooklyn, to me, we see Sean Marks do this last summer. I'm going to keep throwing darts.
Yep.
And one of these darts is going to hit, and
Yep.
someone's going to balk on matching. And so that's what you're fighting against if you're the Wizards, because we could say the market is dried up.
Yep.
The old NBA adage is what? It only takes one.
You say that about dating, too.
Expletive deleted. Yeah, there you go. Only takes one. So you can say, oh, the market's dry, and then some guy rolls up and says, here you go, Otto Porter, full max. Let's go.
Well, one thing Washington is saying is they're putting out the word. We're going to match every offer.
Which you're not allowed to do anymore.
I know,
apparently.
but they're doing it. People don't look at the rules. We're going to match every offer. We're going to match every offer. The more times you say it, the more I wonder, maybe you're not going to match.
It's cute how the NBA has these rules that nobody cares about. It's like the opposite of baseball. They have unwritten rules that
yeah.
everyone follows. We have written rules that nobody cares about. Tampering, you can't,
Well, well, maybe they do follow the rules because Nene just found out that over 30, that over 38 rule.
Segue.
Did you like that? Did you like that? I'm getting to be a good host, aren't I? Hey, Nene had a deal, and then he didn't. According to the undefeated Mark Spears, turns out that Houston was not permitted to offer Nene a 4-year deal, so they countered with a 3-year contract that Nene has not accepted. Okay, who wants to answer how this happened? Why did this over 38 rule kick in and kill this
so
deal?
Nene is 34, but he's going to turn 35 before next season. So the way the Rockets interpreted the brand new rule, which went into effect today, would be that they could give him a 4-year contract, and they wanted to spread out the money that they owed him so they could guarantee him $15 million. And nobody at this table and probably nobody in the league believes that Nene was going to play that full 4 years. Which is one of the reasons why they had this rule in the first place, because they didn't want these kind of contracts to be going out. But LeBron and Chris Paul changed it so they could get paid, but that's another topic for another day. So Nene thinks he's going to get this 4-year offer. He didn't care about the years. He cared about how much money. $15 million. That's what he heard. $15 million to play for the Rockets for the rest of my career. But they just miscalculated. It's a brand new rule, and they looked and they said, you know what? You actually can only give him 3 years, which means you can only give him $10 million. And Nene heard, wait a minute,
That's $5 million
that $15 million that I agreed to just became $10 million. Deal's off, and so he's back on the market.
He missed it by 12 days.
What?
His birthday. If he had been born 12 days earlier, the over 38 rule wouldn't have kicked in yet. But because
come on now.
Yeah, I know
If they would have known that in advance, somebody could have done something with the birth
This is the fun part.
right?
This is the fun part of the NBA, the CBA. When you have a new CBA, is that these rules. I mean, it's not like the league was waiting. Like, let's see if they do this for Nene. They're like, okay, that's cool, and then they look at, wait a second, like this is everyone's first time at the rodeo, so we just saw it happen.
That's what Nene gets for being a foreign player who says his actual birthday.
Yeah,
that'll be the last time it happens.
It's going to be approximately born on what day?
Like, did I say what day did I say I was born on?
Right.
Wait,
All right,
on.
in happier news, let's take it to guards who did get offers on Saturday. Drew Holiday, making $126 million over the next 5 years. And Jeff Teague agreed to a modest 3-year, $57 million deal to join the
I'll tell you the
Timberwolves.
difference in a second.
Their numbers are very similar last season. Take a look at that graph.
Well, there's one number that's not similar.
Teague actually had slightly better player efficiency rating. Ryan, seeing the similarity in production, the disparity in money, is it smart for the Pelicans to have given max money to Holiday?
I said it before, I'll say it again. Leverage is like a warm blanket because
Toasty.
Drew Holiday basically had more leverage than Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague's team wasn't interested or being forced to keep him. Drew Holiday's team was under pressure to keep him. The same exact thing happened last year with Mike Conley in Memphis. And if this had happened a year ago, Drew Holiday would have gotten a max contract. Actually, it's not as bad as it was a year ago because they got him for less than the max. I actually think he probably could have put the screws to him and gotten the max. As it is, he is going to get probably the biggest non-max contract given out this summer, $126 million. We knew it was coming, and even more so, the 5th year is a player option. They didn't even win that part of the deal.
So Brian talks about the leverage. How did Drew Holiday get this leverage? Very easy. You have a situation where you have a star player in DeMarcus Cousins, who is a flight risk at this point. You have to prove to him that you're serious about winning, because that's why he came here.
Yep.
You have a need at guard, either shooting, playmaking, everything Drew Holiday does, they have a huge need, and they still have that need. He satisfies some of it, but they still have to go out and get more. But here's the kicker. If he had left, they'd have about $11 million in cap space. Right. If you say, all right, go ahead, take money anywhere, we'll find someone else. Who's coming reasonably?
Darren Collison, maybe?
But that's a huge gap.
Yeah.
I'm talking about someone who's close enough, like we said, like Teague. Well, Teague got 19, right? So you start to look at what are my options if I don't bring him back, and there are none. Point guard was a tough market.
And this is where you look at what they did last year. You look at those
2 years,
contracts
3 years.
throughout last
Omar
summer.
Sheik. This is why.
Solomon
Hill. Etuan Moore. There are a bunch of these deals that New Orleans did along the way that really didn't have a lot of foresight. We're just kind of let's do something to do something, and it's come back to bite them in the rear end.
By the way, Woj reported that this deal has $25 million in bonuses. In it. Now, I don't know what those bonuses are, but should the Pelicans go on a magical run, this could be a $150 million deal. But I'll talk about Teague. It's a nice move, even though it's an expensive move, it's a nice move for Minnesota, I think, because they had an offensive hole at point guard with Ricky Rubio. Rubio was a much better defensive player, a mildly better passer. Teague is a much bigger upgrade offensively. Great mid-range game, good speed, really will enliven their offense. I wish, Amin, that he shot the ball a little bit better from the outside. That's why they were going after J.J. Redick. They couldn't get him. But all in all, a major upgrade. This should be an offensive force next year. And most importantly, at the end of the game, they don't have to worry about Andrew Wiggins taking free throws, which he always misses, and Ricky Rubio being left open to not make shots.
To not take shots. I think that's a huge part of what Rubio's downfall. Where if you remember what we thought of him as a 14-year-old first popping on the scene in international play, thinking that this guy was going to be the next Jason Kidd. But that mental block, it's not so much that he's a bad shooter and a bad scorer. He's gun shy. It became almost like the yips for him. And so what ends up happening is Minnesota over the last 3 years, I wish I could quote the stat exactly, someone had pulled it up. How many games decided by one possession or less did they fall short in?
Let me tell you, a lot of those games, Ricky Rubio was standing by himself out there. I mean, not even saying they weren't even guarding him wasn't even a fair way to assess it. They were treating him as if they only had 4 men on the court.
Or even worse, when he does have the ball and they just keep backing up, and
he did occasionally, like 1 out of every 15 times, make a shot.
Yeah.
He made a
and the
couple
other thing
shots.
about Minnesota, this was the last time that they could really take a big swing in free agency.
And they've
They're
still
gonna
got
have to
money
start-
left.
Yeah, and
They
they still
still
got money
have
left.
$16 million left.
And because after this is when they're going to start extending Wiggins. I think that probably comes later this summer as soon as they're done with free agency. This team's going to start getting expensive.
Yep.
But I think in a way, it kind of makes more sense to me if they're more reasonable going for shorter-term deals than, let's say, going all in on Paul Millsap, who I don't know if it makes a huge difference on them, and especially if they have to pay him when he gets a little older.
Well, and also Minnesota, the biggest free agent acquisition actually came via trade. Jimmy Butler.
Huge deal for them.
After the break, we will discuss if teams who trade away any stars are getting enough in return. Speaking of Jimmy Butler. Remember
And
Boogie?
DeMarcus.
Everybody liked Buddy Hield? Buddy Hield, big star.
Well, Vivek
Sabonis?
Ranadive likes him.
I don't know.
Victor Oladipo?
All stars are moving, and young guys are coming back.